Hey YouTube, what up? Ryan come back at you here with a bit of a question for you all, and I threw it in my last video, but I wanted to expand upon it a little bit more briefly here on this fine Saturday morning. On my way to a wedding in Gatlinburg, so I figured I'd get this question out of the way. It was on my mind, and I was talking to a good buddy of mine in Indianapolis about this recently. When I was at the National, there was a handful of people walking around, and they were trying, like from new grading companies. And like if any of you watch my channels going, back 10 years when I did Indie Noodle and then transitioned to Dominus Infinitus, I was ride or die for Beckett, hardcore. And then, the investment side in me, and not even just from like a flippability standpoint, it's there. Obviously, the arbitrage is there, but I just thought for long-term longevity, what would have the best value and like aesthetically what looked the best to me, for a myriad of reasons, I thought PSA was like in a league of its own. I didn't touch anyone else for the longest time. Well, during the pandemic, as many of you have probably experienced, with them shutting down a lot of their services or even shutting their doors, with chaos sometimes sparks innovation, right? And sparks new competition. And granted, there's always been more than 2 or 3 or 4 grading companies in this industry, but like that are worth noting, there's always been about 3. Well, goodness, over the last year, you have CSG, and I think what triggered this for me is one of my good friends in Indy yesterday was telling me about, like, oh, you got to look into FCG, forensic card grading or something like this. I don't know. I looked at it, and no offense to FCG followers out there, the product just looks hokey. What I'm asking you all is, do you think that any of these have merit, right? Like, what I'm saying is maybe the rise of SGC in modern cards, like, is it going to have merit? Again, like I was saying in my last video, I think that they have the quickest turnaround, really one of the best processing status or processing processes. There's a tongue twister. The turnaround's essentially guaranteed at this point. So all that's well and good. But again, the resale isn't there. And even for the long-term investment, I don't know. I mean, it's great to encapsulate if you're looking for something cheap and quick to encapsulate. It's a great looking product. But I'm thinking for long-term ROI. Are all these other companies just having an opportunity to thrive right now, just as like a stopgap to PSA, kind of not doing great things right now? I just think operationally, I've actually had a phone call with them last week for about an hour and a half to talk to them about some operational consulting I want to provide to them, because I think just for a company that's publicly traded, they're shitting the bed. And they entertained a conversation with me for about an hour and a half, and we're going to go a little bit further from there. But I'm just curious to hear your opinion. Do you think any of these new and up-and-coming grading companies are actually worth our time? Are they good for the sake of, like, hey, they're cheap and I can get my stuff encapsulated now? Or do you think long-term, like, will they have their talents in on this hobby as like a real alternative option to one of the big 3, which I would consider PSA, BGS, and SGC, the people who've been around the longest and have a proven track record? It's kind of more of an economics question for everyone. And where do you all stand? I'm curious. Thanks for checking out today. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Hope you had a good week. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Deuces.